to need your help today to get this started. So what I want you to do is I want you to start clapping at this pace. I need everybody to clap at this pace. And I want you to keep this up until I give you that universal conducting symbol to stop, okay? When I was an itty bitty girl just up off the floor, I used to go down to Grandma's house every month end or so. There'd be turkey pie, country ham, homemade butter on the bread, but the best darn thing about Grandma's house was the great big feather bed. Thank you very much. Fellow Toastmasters, Mr. Toastmaster, and most distinguished guest. You might wonder what that was all about. And actually it was twofold. One, now you know that I really can't sing very well. And number two, that had absolutely nothing to do with my early years. You see, for the past 6 months, I've had the opportunity to attend numerous Toastmasters meetings throughout the Southwest. Now I knew that I wasn't going to become a member there, so I did participate in the meetings. I just wasn't able to give any speeches for credit. This gave me the opportunity to see how other clubs operated and compare those experiences to what I have right here in Greensboro. So I'm happy to say that I found a new home here, and in some respects, this is my icebreaker to this group. So let's begin. I was born on Christmas Eve. Now a lot of people have trouble remembering people's names. I guarantee you after I tell you the story, not only will you remember my name, but you'll remember my birth date. Now, my parents were told for months that I was going to be a boy. And obviously I did not fulfill that. So my mom's laying in her hospital bed wondering what to call this bundle of joy when she was listening on the radio to Christmas carols. So I have a smart group of people here. I'm expecting at this year's Christmas party that I will be receiving small tokens of affection, maybe candy, flowers, or at the very least a card. I don't think it's too much to ask. Up until June of last year, I had spent my entire life in Noblesville, Indiana, which is a little bit north of Indianapolis. I graduated from college and entered the construction industry, specializing in cabinets. I have been a CKD, or a certified kitchen designer, for 18 years now, and I can tell you, it's a very rewarding profession. My job basically is to make people's kitchen dreams come true. The most difficult part of that job, though, is the fact that there is an overabundance of information out there that is just unrealistic to the profession. And I can attribute that to one main source, and that's a TV show called HGTV, Home and Garden Television, and I can tell from the stickers you've all heard of it. I'm here to dispel a myth today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is totally impossible to not only start and finish your kitchen, but to gut it, order cabinets, and have it totally remodeled in 30 minutes or less. My husband and I are both in the construction industry, and obviously everybody here has probably heard of the housing crisis. It obviously affected us quite severely. Since we're both in the construction industry and both straight commission, when things fell apart a couple of years ago, it hit home pretty hard. So we started looking at different options. About that time, my husband received a job offer from a company in Scottsdale, Arizona. My daughter graduated from ASU, so going out to Arizona, we always thought we'd retire out there anyway. We knew this gentleman from a lot of trade shows. We went and visited, liked what we saw, checked out the company, great rating. We said, you know what? We're going to do this. If the house sells, we're going to make the trip. Well, the house sold. We sold almost all of our worldly possessions and made the trip from Indiana to Scottsdale. And within a week and a half, he came home and said, guess what, honey? The company just folded and we're out of work. So there we are, 1,700 miles away from home, no job, no family, unemployed, wondering what are we going to do with our lives. So we did find work. It was not meaningful, but we did find some. And in the meantime, I developed the worst case of asthma, couldn't breathe, couldn't sleep, all I did was cough. So I called my daughter who lives in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and she said, you know what, Mom? Why don't you come visit me for a few days? Sounded like a great excuse to visit to me. I got on that airplane, hopped cross country, and would you know, in 3 days, I wasn't coughing and I was sleeping all night. So I picked up that phone and I called my husband. I said, guess what, sweetie? I am never coming back to the desert. And he said, guess what? You get your butt back home. You need help pack this van that I've already ordered. Back across country I went, helped pack up the van. We're making our trip back cross country. Of course, in the meantime, making a lot of phone calls, trying to secure employment. And as many of you might realize, the employment around here isn't great, but it is much better than it was in Indiana, and a whole lot better than it was in Arizona. So we've had a lot of job interviews, and I'm hoping within the next 2 weeks that we will both be employed. But until then, I would like to leave you with one last happy thought. This is a poem that I wrote way back in the 3rd grade. And this poem happens to be about one of my heroes, Snoopy. And it goes something like this. Snoopy was a World War ace. He wore his goggles on his face. He did not believe in hearts with lace. So please accept this rose in a vase from Snoopy, our World War ace. So there you have it. Now you know that I'm not a very good singer, and I really don't write any meaningful poetry. But perhaps through a lot of hard work and dedication in following the Toastmaster program, I too might become a polished public speaker. Mr. Toastmaster?